Let's do it.
Cool. Hey, I was gonna tell you too. I really liked the dancing video the other day.
Oh man, appreciate
Dude,
appreciate it,
dude, it
man.
looked good. It looked good. You was moving real good. It went with that song really good. I like that kind of stuff. Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Blacktop Banter. This is episode 44. So we're moving along with the second season during the winter. And there's been some crazy stuff going on during all this quarantine and whatnot. Apps are popping up, technology's advancing, going all kinds of different ways. And if you follow me at all, you know I've been hopping on Clubhouse quite a bit lately. And one day I got into a room. I don't know if it was Breakfast with Champions or what room we were in. Man, all of a sudden I heard this guy talking, and he was talking about meditation, which I've taken on here lately. My friend Mark Estrada and I really talk about it quite a bit, and it just hit a wave with me. And I was like, man, no one in this room has talked about that yet. And my friend and I were talking. I was like, dude, I'm going to reach out to Prince and see if we could talk about this kind of stuff on the podcast. So I don't want to give the big introduction, Prince. I'll let you do that, my friend.
Oh man, I'm not the one to speak about myself, but I do. I think everybody should speak about themselves. Just be mindful of like how you view yourself when you speak about yourself, and just remind everybody whenever you speak about yourself, you should close your eyes and listen to what you say.
Yeah.
Right. So then that way you'll have a better sense of what you're saying about yourself, because if you don't say the positive things and the right things about yourself, then somebody else will.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it probably won't be so positive, and it probably won't be the best in your interest. So it's just always great to be mindful of how you speak to yourself. So what do you want me to start?
Yeah, I want you to start. Let's start with you, as a kid growing up playing football, and how that led into you wanting to play football collegiately, and then how that led into you wanting to play football in the NFL, man.
Man, okay, cool. So started off, I remember I was in Houston, Texas with my mother, and we were watching a game with the Lions and the Houston Oilers at the time. And that was the first time I saw Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
And I saw Barry Sanders do this wicked run and scored a touchdown. And I remember tears welled up in my eyes. And I looked at my mom and I said, I'm going to be in the NFL.
Cool.
And she was like, I believe you, baby.
Isn't that something right away? Your mom's like, yep.
Yep.
You see something electrifying like Barry Sanders,
right.
Completely eliminates Warren Moon being on the other side of the ball.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So once I saw that, I just knew right away that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I was going to do. And so I made it up in my mind at the age of 8.
Wow.
And from there, we from there, it was just about growing up from that point on. And so from that point, I think I played 1 year of Pee Wee League.
Mm-hmm.
And I dominated. I did a really good job, and my mom, she was really happy, but she was just like, I'm okay with you not playing football. So I didn't play football again until my 8th grade year in junior high. And then after that, high school came.
Yep.
So when it was time for high school, so I really didn't have that much time to prep for football growing up.
Sure.
But I was in Houston, Texas. So once I got to high school, I went to go live with my father, who lived in Houston as well, but on the other side of town. And my dad, he's from Africa. He's from Ghana, Africa. And it was funny, my dad really didn't care too much about sports. He was just like, education is where it begins, right? Yeah. And so he was just like, in order for you to play ball, it's all about your studies. Mm-hmm. And he would just tell me, just like, he's like, he said you will eat, you will go to school, you will do your studies, you will come home. Like, and that's it. And I was just like, what about sports? He was like, I don't care about sports. And I was like, oh man. So I had to prove to my dad that I was good. So I think around the age of 13, I went to go live with my father. It was that time I was becoming a young man, and my mom didn't know
Yep.
what else to do with me. So my dad was just like, give him to bring him to me. I
Yeah.
want my son to be with me. So, uh, so he allowed me to play football in high school. I get to the introduction day where everyone has to stand up and introduce themselves. We're all in the room. We're in this annex. We call it the annex, but it was more of a mobile home.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was
Going
just
in between. Yeah.
yeah. So we're sitting inside, and I remember everyone was getting up and stating their name, their position, and what team that they're on, like either freshman, varsity, or JV.
Sure.
And I remember when they was getting to me, I was anticipating. I was just like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? So I stood up. And I was just like, yeah, I'm about to be on varsity. And didn't even introduce myself. I forgot all about that. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm going to be on varsity.
Right.
And I sat back down. I was like, what's your name and what position you play? I was just like, oh yeah, my bad. My name is PJ Daniels. I'm gonna be on varsity and I play running back. So I sat back down. And so, from that moment on, like I told everybody, I declared it.
Yeah.
And so shortly after that, man, my freshman year went really well. They had me playing two positions. They had me playing at DB and running back. And I did really well at both positions. So the next year, they brought up three people from freshman to varsity.
All right.
That was myself, a quarterback, and a linebacker. I didn't want to play DB.
Yeah.
So since I didn't want to play DB, I had to take the backseat role and play on JV at running back because they didn't have any running backs at the time. We had like 5 running backs and 3 fullbacks. So our school was stacked
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Yeah.
running backs, and so my coach had told me just like, hey man, you're gonna have to play running back on JV. I was like, fine, I'll take it. I was like, I'm not a DB.
Right.
But the quarterback and the linebacker, they moved up at that same position. Fast forward, I went on to break records, become a sensation overnight, and then from there, I didn't do well on the ACT, SAT, those standardized tests, but I
didn't
had a
even.
3. Right, it wasn't for me, man. I got bored real quick, and
Yep.
I had a 3.4 in school, in high school. So, just taking a test, remembering some information, studying it, and then taking the test, and then getting the results like an A plus, like I was good, right? And so I knew the information. I applied it. I
Right.
got a good grade. Took it home to my dad. He was just like, an A. Okay, you can do better than me. I need an A plus. I'm like, man, but it was good though. I appreciate that. So from there, man, for the I didn't get a scholarship. So I had about 12 scholarship offers.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue, Michigan State, Tulane, Brown, Colgate, Wake Forest. So these schools were offering me scholarships, but since I didn't do well on the standardized tests, they all took their scholarships back. And so after the signing day, I had an opportunity to go to North Texas, and I turned that scholarship down, or that offer down, because they was gonna give me a partial scholarship. I turned it down because I wanted to leave Texas. I didn't want to be around my family. I wanted to grow up.
Yeah.
First year, the recruiting coach from Georgia Tech, he came in, and his name was Lance Thompson. That's my guy too. He came in and he was recruiting someone else. He didn't even know about me. And so my head coach told him, he said, hey man, we got a guy that fell under the radar. He's like top 100 running backs in Texas. He said, really smart in the classroom. Give him a chance, man, and you won't go wrong. He's a diamond in the rough. And the coach was just like, okay, well, let me see some film on him.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first play, they turned it on. It was an 80-yard touchdown. I ran somebody over. Then I went.
I like how you casually say that. I ran somebody over, and now I want a touchdown.
Yeah, I jumped over my fullback. I'll never forget this play because I had a bad game.
Okay.
but I there was some good parts of the
Salvaged it.
game.
Yeah, you salvaged
Yeah, yeah, but we ended up winning the game. But I was so hard on myself because I fumbled at a crucial time in the game, and my defense, they pulled it out. We won, but and I was at the end, I was sobbing, and they were like, "Man, don't even worry about it. We got your back." And I was just like, "Man, I'm fumbled, man. I'm not supposed to."
it.
But
Yeah.
that game, my fullback, he did a chop block on someone. I jumped over him. Then another guy came over. I ran him over.
Yeah.
And I scored an 80-yard touchdown. And so the coach saw that play, and he was just like, "I don't need to see any more." He was like, "Let me meet the kid." So he came out. At that time, I was at track practice because I had already turned down a scholarship from North Texas. So I was at track practice. And while I was at track practice, I was just doing handstands from like a crow pose. I'm not sure if you're familiar with a crow pose, but yeah, so I was just doing a handstand from that and going back down. And he
Yeah.
was just like, "Yo, who are you?" I'm just like, "Who are you?"
He said, not only that, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. And so afterwards, we spoke for a minute, and he was asking me. And I was really sheltered growing up. He was just like, you know about Georgia Tech. I'm just like, yeah, I
Right.
never heard of it before. And he was just like, "Do you know where it's at?" I was like, "In the state of Atlanta."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, in the state of Georgia. Atlanta is the city." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So anyway, he gave me his card, told me, "Hey, we want to check you out, man.
Right.
We will fly you out. Come and sit down and talk with us." So that happened. I went there. I sat down and talked with them. I spoke with the recruiting coach, Lance Thompson. The head coach at the time was George O'Leary, and uh, I want to say he was the assistant coach at the time, Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, yeah.
And so went there and I spoke with them, and there was a verbal agreement,
Right.
which is the wrong thing to do in any type of deal,
Right.
verbal agreement. So right, so but they were not able to give me a scholarship, but they told me I can have an opportunity to be a walk on.
Okay.
So they told me to apply for school, and I applied for school. I got in. I was just like, man, yes, like which made me feel really, really proud of myself
Yeah.
because I got into Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
It wasn't
It
nobody
wasn't
did
it
it.
wasn't on your feet or on your back or on your arms. It was you.
It was
Yeah, you,
me.
yeah,
It
you
was
got into
me.
Georgia Tech. Yeah,
I got
cool.
into Georgia Tech, and so from that point on, I was super proud. So I was like, okay, well, I need to make sure that I keep this opportunity,
Right.
right? Get there, man. When I got there, they already had 4 running backs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the next year they recruited 2 more.
Oh,
So
great. That's great.
now the
Yeah.
walk-on guy, I go from number 5 to number 7 on the depth chart. I'm the number 7th running back. That means 6
That's
other
deep,
running backs are
brother.
right in
Yeah,
front of
that's
me.
deep. That's deep.
Yeah. Right. And so any opportunity that I would get, I would try to maximize it. And
Right.
no matter what, I was in my mind, I was just like, all right, well, if I only get one play, this one play, I'm gonna score a touchdown. I
Yeah,
don't care. It didn't happen like that, but that I had that feeling, I had that desire, that belief that I could, and which allowed for me to display my or express my passion and my love for the game,
sure.
or just competing at a very high level.
Yep.
So again, 7 on the depth chart, man, and then spring it was spring 2002, spring 2002. Uh, I went to George O'Leary. He got a new job.
Okay.
He got a new job at Notre Dame
Okay.
at the time, and so he left.
Yep.
He ended up leaving and took most of the coaches with him. Bill O'Brien stayed.
Yeah.
Uh, and
That
then
was
we
that
had
was a key, that was a key part, wasn't it, Prince?
what's that?
Just that Bill O'Brien stayed.
Well,
It's kind of a crazy thing.
well, you'll see. You'll
Yeah.
see. Like I don't have any more animosity towards Bill O'Brien.
Right.
But yeah, he stayed,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But
Continue.
but it was a key point. It was a key point. I just pointed out, okay, because he stayed, and then we had the transition with Coach Gailey.
Mhm.
Chan Gailey came in, and once he came in, Bill O'Brien, he became the offensive coordinator.
Mhm.
So at this time, man, I'm a walk on. I'm not getting the same treatment as the invested players,
Yeah, of course.
right? Meaning I had to borrow one of the quarterbacks' books at nighttime to go and study it because I didn't receive a playbook at the time.
Mhm.
And I didn't know all the plays. So anyway, we had to do the spring game exit. After the spring game, you have to do your exit. You meet with the coaches.
Okay.
They evaluate you. So I go and meet with O'Brien, and so again, he was the only one in the room when we had that verbal communication about getting the scholarship,
Yep.
right? So I go in. I'm number 7 on the depth chart. He's just talking to me, and so I into the room. It's like, hey, coach, how you doing? Like, sit down. It was real dry.
Yeah.
Get straight to the point. And
Yep.
so he was just like, well, all right. He said, PJ, all right, let's look at the film. Like, you look too mechanical. You look stiff, and so I was just like, yeah, I understand that, coach. But, I've done really well off the field, and I felt that I've done a good job on the field. I was like, is there a way that I can get a scholarship? I want to get a scholarship. And he was just like, well, PJ, you know what? That's not going to happen. We won't be able to give you a scholarship. And I was just like, okay. And he said, you know what? You're number 7th on the depth chart. So you know what that means? Like, you're not going to play here at Georgia Tech.
Yep.
I heard that you're pretty smart in the classroom. You know what? I can call some of my buddies from Brown and see if we can get you to school over there, but you're not going to play at Georgia Tech. He's like, let me just go ahead and stop. He said, I don't want to shoot the shit with you.
Right.
I want to give it to you real and raw.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And he said, look at all these guys that we have, all these running backs that's in front of you. Like, they're gonna go to the NFL. He's gonna go to the NFL. He's gonna go to the NFL. And he said, I don't think you're gonna go to the NFL. And I'm sitting there like, why are you saying this to me? He's just like, look, man. He's like, let me just be completely honest. You're not my favorite.
Yep.
I have favorites, and you're not one of my favorites. He's like, you're number 7 on the depth chart. So when you look at that on paper, he said that's one in a million. Your chances of playing at Georgia Tech are 1 in a million. Do you understand that? You understand that? And then you said that you want to go to the NFL. Your chances of going to the NFL are 1 in a billion. Do you think you're gonna really go to the NFL?
Right.
Like, you're not. You're not. And I was just like, okay. So I'm sitting in my chair, my legs are shaking, and I'm just like, all right. So I just asked, can I get a scholarship? Right.
Yeah.
And so he goes in, and I was just like, well, okay, that's fine, but I'm looking to get a scholarship. Like, shit, PJ. Like, you're making my job hard. You know what? I'm gonna make it easier for the both of us. You fucking suck.
Damn.
And I was just like, what?
I remember, in that book, dude. I was thinking in my mind that moment, those rooms, and that tension for that to happen, and just be like, man, well, not only like for that to happen, but I know for your psyche, there's only two. It only goes one or two ways. Either you believe that and you go down that route, or you think in your brain, no, and all of a sudden something switch. And then all of a sudden in that, in your book, I heard that thing switch. You started running across campus. You started changing, boy.
Yeah, I'll get to it, man. So I every time I tell a story, I relive the moment. So him just like, you suck. You effing suck.
Crazy.
And I was just like, so I'm 19.
Yeah.
I'm 19 years old. People say, oh, you're 19, 18, you grow up, like, you don't really grow up until you're like 20 something, man. Right? You still got this immature brain, and you haven't exercised your decision making.
Exactly.
So come from a sheltered home, it's all love, and then I get this. But the beautiful thing is, when I went to go stay with my dad, he gave me that tough love, and he told my mom, he's like, if I'm not tough on him, the world is going to be tough on him. So I need to get him before the world does.
Absolutely true.
And so I'm extremely grateful for that. And it prepared me for this moment, man, because I'm sitting there And after he told me that I suck, like my legs start shaking, like they start bouncing up and down my knees,
Yep.
and both of them. And I'm sitting in my chair and I'm just like, why do I feel like this? I started getting angry. I was just like, man, I want to get up and choke him.
Yeah.
Like I just literally want to Latrell Sprewell him and just
No, it's like,
and I'm just sitting there. And he was just like, look, you're not gonna make it. You suck. You're too mechanical. You're not what we're looking for. He was just like, so you know what? Just get the F out my office.
crazy.
And I'm just sitting there. And my eyes welled up with tears, man. And I just remember telling myself, do not fucking cry in front of this dude. You better not show any type of weakness. And so they just stayed there. They just stayed there, and I didn't blink my eyes. If I had to blink my eyes, I was just like,
Yeah.
And I didn't let a tear fall out my face. I just stood there and I took it, and I had my head down, and I looked up at him. I was like, "You don't think I'll play at Georgia Tech?" I was like, "You don't think I'll make it to the NFL?" And he was just like, "Get the fuck out of my office! Fuck no, you suck!" And I just looked at him. I said, "Okay." I got up and I walked out the office, and usually they close the door, all right, because it's a private conversation. He had his door wide open. He left it wide open. So as soon as I walked out, they had the secretary there, some of my teammates,
I was gonna say your boys was out there.
yeah, and they were like lined up, and I was like, "Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Don't nobody touch me! Don't touch me!
Yep.
Please touch me! Please don't touch me!" And I walked downstairs, and when I walk downstairs, man, I get to the bus stop, and this is spring break time, so nobody's on campus. So the campus is desolate, and I'm waiting for the bus to come. The bus is running a little slower because there's no students on campus. So uh, um, instead of every 15 minutes, it's like every 30 minutes. I'm waiting out there. Nobody came. No bus was coming down the street. So all of a sudden, one of my coaches passed by. He's like, "Hey, P, keep your head up, man." He's like, "I heard what happened. I'm sorry about that." And it's like, man, he said, the one thing about you that's different than everybody else, he said, you got this. He's like, you got heart, and nobody can take that away from you, man. He said, so keep your head up, man. And at that moment in time, I looked up at the sky. I was like, why, God, what I do?
Yeah.
And a tear streamed down my face. And I was just like, I'm not gonna let nobody take my dream away from me. This is my effing dream.
Yep.
This is my effing dream. So I stood up. The bus took too long, man. I stood up and I just pulled my backpack straps down, and I had about 3 textbooks in my bag. And so the most you can do is like a little trot and a jog with those books in your bag.
Yep.
Man, I took off full sprint, just ran, did not care
Yeah.
about.
I was gonna say.
And see, go ahead.
I was gonna say you didn't care.
I didn't care. I didn't
Yeah.
care. I cried from so it's about between like a 1.5 to 2 miles from the athletic center to our dorm room.
Yep.
And I cried and I ran the whole way non-stop. I did not want to stop. I could not stop. I just kept running. Got to my apartment, got to the dorm room, put my bag down, put my workout clothes on. I went outside to the 1996 volleyball pitch that were in front of our dorm room.
Yep.
And I just started working out. I worked out for 3 hours and I passed out. When I woke up, I had a sand print on the right side of my face. I went upstairs. I was super weary. It was super weak. My legs were shaking. I get upstairs and my roommate, he offered me 2 greasy slices of some Pizza Hut.
Pizza or something.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I ate those 2 slices of pizza and didn't even do my homework. Then I went to sleep. Woke up the next morning. We had workouts at 5:30. I woke up at 4. Did some homework. I did some sit-ups and push-ups. Put my workout clothes on, and I took off running to the other side of campus. And I did, so I did that right before workout. So I did this religiously, every time we had workouts, I get up and go running. I run to the other side of camp. I run to the other side of campus. My teammates were passing by in the car. They blowing the horn like, "Yo, get in!" I was like, "I see y'all at the weight room."
Yep.
And from that point on, they knew that they were like, "Oh, he focused."
Yeah, you're on a mission now.
I was on a mission from that
Yeah,
point on.
how it does that, how high stress or those moments cause you to just get into that mode where the only thing that you know to do, you do intensely. So you don't have to think about anything else. You're just like, well, this is what I know. This is my bread and butter. This is what I'm doing. I ain't going to focus on anything else. And you stay in that mode until you're manifesting some results.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, man. So from there, I worked out religiously, and that summertime, my brother he came to stay with me for the summertime, and he ran track at his school. So we would be outside just playing like tag, like you chase me from this angle and see if I can get past you. So we was having a good time, but we were also improving our skills, getting faster. I would take him in the woods. We would go running in the woods and just run up hills, downhill. Like I did not want to be stopped, man. No, nobody could tell me anything, man. So there was this 3-mile hill, maybe a little bit longer, but it was in Conyers, Georgia. And so I would take all my friends over there, man. And we would go run this hill. And from there, the next season happened. And once the next season happened, I was able to get on special teams.
Yep.
All right. So just being on the field made me extremely happy.
Yeah.
So I didn't care what role I had. I was on the field.
On the field. I got
you. Yeah. So I was telling my friends, my teammates, like, man, I was like, when I get in the game, I'm gonna knock somebody out. I was like, I'm gonna knock somebody out when I get in the game. I was like, they don't know, And one of my teammates, his name was Karan. He was like, y'all don't know. P gonna knock somebody out. He's gonna knock somebody out, and he's just like, I'm telling you. So one of our running backs, he ended up getting hurt. We played against BYU, those grown men.
Oh yes, sir. Oh yes, sir.
Right? So we're playing against them, and one of my teammates, he gets knocked out. He gets a concussion, and I was just like, okay, that's him right there. That's who I'm gonna knock out. Yeah. Big guy, man. He's about 23 years old. I think I'm 19, maybe. No, I'm about 20.
Okay.
Around 20. No, I take that back. I'm around 19, somewhere around 19-ish.
All right.
And this 23-year-old. So another kickoff happened. I had to go in for the running back. There he is. He's running down field full speed. You can see his muscles just popping out. I was like, there he is. It's like, let's go. It's either me or you. So I made it up in my mind, man. So you're supposed to go back and create a wall, right?
Yeah, whichever way that punt returner is going, left or right, you create
exactly. A wall. Yeah. Punt returner, kickoff returner, right? Yeah. So you're supposed to go back and create a wall. So go and find your teammates. I saw him running that towards me. I started running towards him. Man, I ran towards him and I just threw myself. Baya! Boom! Knocked him out.
Nah.
Got up. Was like, and knocked him out. And so from there, my teammate on the sideline, he's like, I told you. He said he's gonna knock him out. He knocked him out. And so I'm hyped just from a knockout.
Yeah.
Then the next week, I get another opportunity, to be the blocker.
Yep.
Then it led to the return guy. He they moved me back to be the return guy. And then
they say you got a little bit of speed.
Got a little bit of speed. So I went back and now I'm the return guy. Man, we in a big game. We play against Wake Forest. It's the fourth quarter. We're down by 7. We got an opportunity to win. They didn't want to kick it to our kick returner because he was really good. Yeah. So they ended up kicking the ball to me. My coach had told me right previously before that, like, he's like, look, they're going to kick the ball to you. You catch that rooter tooter and you take it to the house. I was like, all right, coach, let's go. So, man, the ball came to me. Boom, I caught it. I was just like, oh, shit. Wow.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, all right. I was like, God, don't feel me. Let's go. Let's go. So, I'm running. I see somebody in front of me. Then all of a sudden they disappear because one of my teammates just hit them. And then I'm still running. I'm like, oh shit, I'm still running. So I returned a 57-yard kickoff. Somebody horse collared me before that
Right before you got
rule went in.
yeah.
And from there, my teammates, they went crazy. I went to the sideline, they was hitting me on my helmet. I was trying to take it off. They was grabbing it. I was just like, wow. So shortly after that, I ended up getting a scholarship. And because the head Coach Gailey, he had told me, he was just like, he said, I'm gonna tell you about resilience,
Yep.
and persistence, and somebody that's determined. And he said, we were in meetings, in the middle of meetings. He just called me out and he just said, man, I just want to tell you that I'm sorry, that I didn't believe in you, but man, thank you for who you are. So they ended up giving me a scholarship. And from there, the other guys, they either got drafted or they got hurt, and I became the starter. And, I was prepared. I was prepared for the opportunity. So from there, ended up breaking the NCAA record, and number 5 on a Georgia Tech rushing history list.
All time.
So,
Yeah.
all time. Then I got drafted to the Baltimore Ravens. Played with the Ravens for 3 years, man, which was a great opportunity, a great experience. But I didn't get a chance to do exactly what I wanted to do, what I was capable of doing, what I was accomplishing in practice, and all the affirmations that I was receiving from Ray Lewis, from Mike Anderson, from all the other running backs, from the quarterbacks, from the deep, just everybody. It was just like, man, you're gonna be great, because I just had the determination to. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be great, and so I would work on these things. Like, I went from running a 4.5, my 40 time, to a 4.2 in 6 weeks. I started learning all the plays. They started kicking me out of the meetings because I wasn't giving people an opportunity to answer the questions that they were asked. I just be kind of like in the back, like, it's a 6-man turn back protection. Like, oops, my bad.
Oh yeah.
But it was only because I became a student of the game.
Sure.
See, when there's no school involved in sports, then it becomes a job.
Yep.
But it only becomes, and if you can become a student of the game, then it doesn't become a job anymore. It becomes fun,
Mm-hmm.
because now you're like, oh, I understand how to do X, Y, and Z. I understand how to do this, do that, and from a student to a teacher and so forth. And I acquired all that knowledge, and I was ready to put it all together. And I ended up getting hurt, and so my football career ended shortly. And It wasn't career-ending injuries.
Right.
And in Baltimore, they did a really good job. They really they believed in me,
Sure.
because some of the things that I was doing were, they were like, "How are you able to do that?" It was just determination, man, just determined. I never forget. One day I was in practice, and see, and then I had this mindset of like, I'm going against a number 1 defense. So if I can go against the number 1 defense and beat them, then when I go against the number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5,
It'll be
I was like,
cake.
it's gonna be a cakewalk.
That's gonna
I was
be
like, let's go.
easy.
So every day I would come out to practice. Me and my other running back, Corey Ross, he played in Nebraska.
Yep.
We said that we made an agreement that when we go out to practice, we're gonna leave it out there. We're gonna go super hard, so that way, the same mindset. Once we go against the 1 defense, when we go against 2 and 3s and 30-second team,
It'll
then
be
we're
easy.
gonna dominate,
Yeah.
right? And so we're in practice. We're out at practice, and uh, we run a play. And I remember Bart Scott at the time. He was talking mad smack. Man, that's my dude. I love Bart, man, because Bart elevated my game.
Yep.
But he was talking smack this day, and he was just like, uh, man, you can't do X and Y and Z. And I was scout team player of the week.
Okay.
Uh, my lineman, we had to play against LT. We had to
Oh
play
yeah.
against the Chargers.
Yep.
And I was LT. I was the LT running back, right? So I was getting teased a little bit. My lineman was just like, "What's up, little LT?" I was just like,
Uh,
"I'm not little LT. I'm better than LT." And it was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you got some big balls to say something like
yep.
that." So we get out to practice, and I'm still fuming. I'm still heated. Uh, and we get out to practice, and we run a play. I cut it back, score a touchdown. Bart was just like, that's some fluke shit. That's some fluke shit. That's fluke, fluke. You know, like you would have got tackled. You would have.
Yeah.
So, you know, as I scored a touchdown, I'm running back. I'm like, man, they cannot stop me, man. I told them, I don't know why they think they can stop me. What's wrong with them?
Yeah.
So Corey, he goes in, he runs some plays, and then then they come back, and I go back in, we run another play. I take it to the house again. You know, so then after that, I'm just jogging back, like, I don't know what's wrong with them. They cannot stop me. Yeah, so as I'm trotting back, and I go back, and I'm standing in the back, and Mike Anderson comes over and grabs me by the neck. He's like, yo, he got this real raspy voice. That's my dog too, man. He's like, yo, what was that? I was like, what you mean? He's like, what the fuck was that you just did? I'm just like, I do that when I get mad. He's like, nah, let me tell you something. He said, I only seen 2 people do that in my life, and you the third one. He said, Clinton Portis and LaDainian Thomas. And he said, I just saw you do it. Whatever you did to do that shit, you need to do that shit every day.
Just keep doing that. Yeah.
He's like, that's what they're looking for upstairs.
Crazy.
He's just like, I'm only going to tell you this one time. He said, but that shit right there, he's like,
that's it.
You got it.
Yeah.
And what he said, we play the same position.
Yep.
He's like, I didn't have my fair share. He said, but you got it. I see it in you.
Yeah.
He's like, do that every day. He said, I guarantee you'll be playing. You'll be the starter. And I was like, all right, cool. That was the end of that conversation. Then he let me go. Then he went back and started eating his flower seeds again. and you know, just that moment right there, it just fueled me to like go so hard every day. I started realizing, you know, practice became my game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was ready for the game. I was like, when I get to this game, people gonna be like, who is he? You know, so the only thing with my career is that I didn't have a mentor. You know, I still had this anger, a lot of anger and a chip on my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you reach a certain level, you gotta learn how to push that chip away on your shoulder and all that animosity and learn how to redirect your energy into like perfecting your craft and staying focused on that and learning about your emotional intelligence. You got to be able to calm yourself down. You got to pick and choose your battles wisely, you know, because I just elevated myself. So, but I didn't know how to carry myself with that much elevation. You know, my emotions got the best of me. Then I get injured. And after that, man, you know, that career was over. So now I have all these skills.
Yep.
I didn't want to go play at the Canadian League or European League.
Yep.
You know, hey, I just felt that I was better than that, you know, and I don't mean anything by it, but that's just how I felt.
Yeah.
Right. So,
well, you got to have that mentality a little bit, though, Prince, don't you, to keep elevating yourself? I mean, the first time, like you were talking when you received that kick, the first time you actually realized you had the ball in your hands, after you realized you were on the field, and then realized you had an opportunity, and then realized you were going to make something out of that opportunity. Each time you were elevating because, you know, a lot of people they talk about ego. Like it's a super negative thing, but man, if you don't believe in yourself, if you're not telling yourself every day that you're going to run somebody over or take it to the house or do whatever, you ain't going to. You just ain't going to have that determination. So for you, you know, from what I understand, especially from reading a book and getting to know you, is that, you know, you being there on that level and then saying, man, I'm better. I'm way better. That's a hard thing to wrangle in, man, that ego when it gets up there, especially like you were saying, you don't have a mentor to transition and be like, all right, dude, you made it here. This is where we got to focus coming up. That's a hard thing. I didn't have that either as well. That's why, you know, I'm a late bloomer in my opinion, in my industry and everything I do. But lucky enough, I was around some right people at the right time before I imploded or did whatever, you know, I said I was going to do. And what about you? I know you got quite a story about how that got in check.
Yeah. So after my career, was over, uh, I was at home. I was just at home, just like, damn. Then I ended up losing my condo. The market crashed, right? The housing market crashed, and I
Yep.
lose my condo. I lost my job. I lost my condo. I lost my girl that I was with at the time. It was just so many things there was a cascade effect
Yep.
that I was saying to myself, like, what in the world? I was like, I feel like I need to lose my life then,
Yep.
because all of the things that I worked hard to get,
You can
I
take.
acquired them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lost them like within the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I lost them faster than I acquired them.
Mhm.
And so that's devastating,
Yeah.
to anyone. And I knew that it was happening. I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the basic skills to be able to call someone and ask them, or negotiate, how I can pay a bill,
Right.
because someone else was doing that for me.
Mhm.
So, these I was basically, you know deprived of those skills, those regular skills, right? So I had to develop those. And so by the time I started developing these skills, then it was too late,
Yeah.
right? So I end up losing things, or uh I wouldn't be as proactive to address the situation.
Mhm.
So, man, it just went into, I had a self-identity crisis, then suicidal ideation. Well, self-identity crisis, depression, suicidal ideation, then
Yep.
suicide attempt. And it wasn't until, luckily, my second year in the league, I uh, went to a monastery.
Okay.
I went to a monastery and I spent time there at the
What,
monastery.
what made you decide to go to that, Prince? Because talking to you and reading a book and everything, I know you're super sharp. So, society tells you, hey, you need to get a car, a house, a woman, girlfriend, a wife, whatever. And then when that's stripped away, like you were saying, that identity, you're like, well, that's what I've been taught matters, like, but you're super sharp, man. So I want to go back to before you get there. What made you go to the monastery the second year in the league the first time? Was it just intrigue or what was it?
Yeah, it was more of like I'm not gonna say, it was more like a selfish thing of, like, to improve my game,
Okay.
to improve my
It's funny
game,
how that
because
thing works once in a while.
right. So it was more like, okay, what I realized is that, all right, so I'm going to be the starting running back for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Okay, so with every 2 years, they're going to figure out my running style. So I need to be able to adapt a new running style every 2 years, so they'll never figure me out. And so I said, okay, I need to go to the monastery because I want to be able to zen out on everybody.
Yep.
Like, I have the speed, I have the knowledge of the game. So now the next thing I need to do is to take myself to like a newer height, be
Yep.
like Bruce Lee, be like Walter.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Water
Right.
takes every form. Yeah.
Well, it takes every form. It is
Right.
strong, but so that's what my mind was. That's what my spirit was,
Huh.
and so so I went to the monastery, and and so the reason I was inspired to go to the monastery because two of my uncles, I have four uncles. Two out of the four, they've been going to the monastery for some time, and I was just like, like, I need to
Okay.
go. I'm ready to
Yeah.
go. Let's go. So I go there, and I remember my uncle. He was talking to me. He was just saying that, mental reps are even more powerful than the physical reps that you take. He
True.
said so. So what he said, one of the things that I would suggest that you focus on is just being able to catch a ball, being able to, see things that others can't see.
Hmm.
All right, focus. He's like, what are the things that you can focus on? So I remember going there, and I had a moment, like, a moment where I had an enlightenment moment,
Yep.
and I was like, oh, this is it. This is it. And so when I went back, I had that enlightenment moment. I went back and I was just like, I'm about to kill you guys. Y'all don't even know. Like, I was just getting started.
Yep.
Now,
You got new eyes.
like,
Yeah.
man, you don't know what I just saw. Like,
Yep.
what just wait. And then I end up getting hurt.
Hmm.
So it just crushed and crumbled all of my dreams and aspirations.
Mhm.
And so that's where the depression and the self-identity crisis came from, because
What's
now that platform that I had was completely taken away. So um as I fast forward, luckily I had a chance to go to the monastery, because that was my safety net. That is what I fell back upon once I was done with the game, and I didn't have no identity to cling to.
Sure.
So from there, uh, what I realized was the meditation was the one thing that allowed for me to cling to myself
Mhm.
and stand upon my own 2 feet and find my identity within me, which is like very strong and profound, but it's so simple and easy to overlook,
Yeah.
because everything outside of us is what we
That's what we're
associate
told
our.
matters. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we're told matters. That's what we're told makes us.
exactly.
Yeah, but
And so when you lose those pride and precious possessions,
yep.
it was taken away from you.
You feel like your status is down here, man.
Just
And
like
it's
that.
brutal. It is.
It's
It's
super
brutal.
brutal.
Yeah.
And no, like everybody on the outside looking in, like, you'll be all right. Like, what the fuck? You
You
think
have
you're gonna
no
be all
idea.
right?
Yeah,
You got no
you
idea.
got no idea what I'm going through. Yeah.
Right, right. And so I'm just like, let myself down, let my family down, I just, like, you know what? I'll be better off just killing myself.
Yeah.
Right. And so luckily for me, the day I did a 3-day plan on how I was gonna kill myself, and I went through the first 2 days, um, uh, where I would put my gun underneath my head and just pull the trigger,
Yeah.
and just embody that and see how it felt. Like, oh, all right, and get to the 3rd day, and I was just like, you know what? Before I blow my head off, I was just like, I'm gonna call some people.
Hmm.
Didn't even tell them what was going on. Just called. I only told one person. So,
Yep.
called the first 6 people, one of my teammates, and that was the first time I was like, wow, I'm happy. But then he was just like, I gotta go. So
Yeah.
that moment was very short lived.
Sure.
Uh, and then I called my mother, I called my professor from Georgia Tech, I called one of my uncles, and nobody told me what I wanted to hear. And just like, all right, well, this is about to happen, because I prepared all my stuff. It was in my closet, in my closet in my house, and that's what I was planning on doing, uh, committing suicide.
Yeah.
Call them, make a phone call. The last person I called was the spiritual leader at the monastery, the head monk at the monastery, and just like I just started lamenting. So we got on the phone. This, 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 and I lost my job, and I lost this, and I lost that. Like that. I lost my woman. I lost. I'm about to kill myself. And it got quiet, and he was like, "Are you done?" And for the first time, I could feel myself like exhale.
Yeah.
Because I was anticipating to hear what he was going to say. It's
Yeah.
like,
You thought
okay,
it would be like,
so
oh no. Oh
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. Oh no, man.
You didn't even.
Meanwhile, everything you told him is the perfect setup for finding yourself finally after all this. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy, man. Because he was just like, "Are you done?" I was like, "What?" And for the
Yeah.
first time, I felt myself exhale. Like, I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he was just like, "You get what you are. You get what you pay for. What you are is just plane of consciousness that you're traveling on, that you get according to your experiential needs.
Hmm.
The pay is the effort that you put into utilizing the information received to elevate your consciousness." And I was just like, "What?"
Huh? Yeah.
And then he was like, "Meditate," and hung up the phone. Boom. And I was like, "That's it? What the fuck was that?" Like, I just told him I was like, you know what? I'm about to go and do it.
Yep. Yeah.
So I stormed into my room, and before I go into my closet, my meditation pillow is like sitting right by a
Crazy.
window. And it's like a little ray of sunshine just beaming on the meditation pillow. I'm like, fuck you. I'm just like, how the fuck is meditation going to save my fucking life? I was like, I'm effed up right now. I'm emotionally distraught. I'm
Yep.
emotionally bruised, physically. Like, I don't know who I am. Like, fuck this meditation shit. So, I was just like, I'm looking at my closet. I'm looking at the pillow. Looking at my closet. I'm looking at the pillow. I'm just like, you know what? I give myself one. This is how I was. I give myself 1 fucking hour.
Yep.
I was like, if nothing happens in this hour, then you know what? I'm doing it. I'm leaving this planet.
Yep.
Man, I sit down and it was one of the toughest meditations that I ever had in my life because I was moving around. My
Mm-hmm.
posture was like I was slouched. Had to
Yep.
straighten myself back up, and So what that taught me with my posture was like stand on your own 2 feet, support yourself. Like everything that you have is inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you need is inside of you. Sit up straight and maintain that strong posture and have that confidence. And I was sitting with a lotus position, legs crossed, and it was torture. I
Yeah.
had these big ass legs, so my hips were burning. I'm like,
Trust me,
what the
dude.
fuck, like,
I can't even get in that position, man.
right,
You,
right.
you gotta tell me, man.
Right. So I'm just like, what the hell? Like, so I'm going through all of this pain in my brain. It's like, you suck. You let yourself down. You're not enough. Like, how do you lose your first job? What the fuck is wrong with you? Who are you? You don't even know who you are. Like you had it all. Like, then you lost it. Like, like, who are you? Like, why did you? Oh man. Like it was like I was going through um, like a portal, and I'm just seeing every single thing
Yep.
that was coming at me. Like, what's going on? What? Why? What? I need that.
Yeah.
And man, uh I was sweating. I was hot. My
Did you pace?
palms were sweaty.
I've been there. Did you pace back and forth nonstop forever? Because
No.
that's what I did until I finally sat down and just
Mm,
meditated and was just
be
like, all right,
still,
yep.
right?
You know,
So
those thoughts go in your brain,
yeah,
and because I've been in the same situation, man. And those
yeah,
thoughts go in your brain, and finally you realize if I'm not going to do it, I'm gonna have to get up. I'm gonna have to do something. And it feels like all that stuff gets stripped away. Like you were saying, you sit down on your meditation pillow, you
yeah,
did your thing, and
yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah. I told myself to be still,
Yeah.
and that's when it all happened. I had like a couple more minutes left on the timer. I opened my eyes to peek because I was just like, I can't take this no more. And I was just like, be still, let go. And when I
Yeah.
did that, man, I took a deep breath, and then the outside of my knees, they hit the ground, like boom, and my body just went limp, and my energy from my body just shot up into my brain, and I was just like, whew. I was like, fuck, where am I? I was like, oh shit, where am I? And then it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, I'm about to kill myself,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm about to kill myself because this is what I said the first 2 days.
Yep.
I prepped myself,
Yep.
right, to do this because I thought it was cool. Well, I didn't think it was cool, but you have to do something to override your brain and your body to stop you,
Yes.
from harming yourself, right?
Yes.
So I had to psych myself out. So the third time, it was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm about to kill myself. And at that moment, it was like a realization, like, "Fling." And then the timer went off. It was bling, ding. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no, 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 no. I was
Yep.
like, what was that? What was that? All right. And so from that moment, a tear came on my face. And I was like, whatever that is, I want to chase that for the rest of my life.
Yes. Yep.
And um,
That
I
was
never thought
you.
about, yeah,
That
that
was
was me.
first time you ever seen yourself, man.
First time I ever seen myself, Marvin. Exactly,
I know,
brother.
man.
And
You're making me
and
cry right now thinking about it, man.
man, come on, man. I'm feeling it. I know you feeling it because
Yeah.
you were there. I can feel your energy right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo. And from that moment on, man, I was just like, that's it. Well, that's it. And I never thought about harming myself ever again, man. And then my life just changed around,
Mhm.
and I started ordering my thoughts and ordering my steps and
Mhm.
everything that I needed to do. And I started rebuilding myself, man. And I created my own staircase because a staircase cannot exist if there are no steps. And
Yeah.
so, I took steps and I created my own staircase, man. And I was able to elevate myself, my mind, my body, my spirit. And I'm here today, living testimony, letting people know like this is where it's at. This
Yeah.
is the remedy to uh pretty much all of our problems.
Anything. Yeah. Any and
Yeah.
everything. There's nothing, in your brain when you're going through that stuff, it seems like it's so bad that it's not worth being in the midst of anymore. And then when you find yourself, you realize there's nothing that could be that bad. There's nothing that's that bad that you want to take that away from yourself. It's
Right.
just crazy. It's a
Right.
crazy thing. And sometimes it is that, maybe it is that pressure cooker high, intensity situation that forces you to do that. The immediate thing that I felt when I see myself for the first time, Prince, was thinking about everybody else who didn't get to see themselves, and bad things did happen. They harmed themselves or did whatever. And I thought, man, if there's any kind of inclination, that's what I'm going to start telling people to talking about is to hell with all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just stuff, man. And you realize that in some of the scripture and stuff from old times and wherever, and religion and everything else. And you're like, yeah. And it's just words until all of a sudden you were living in the realness of it. And then you find yourself finally. You grow up, your mom takes care of you, your dad takes care of you, your coach takes care of you, you work, people are always taking care of you. And so you never really know your influence in so many ways until you have to find yourself, or you don't care about yourself, and then you find yourself. It's like, how crazy is that you absolutely have to not care about anything, including yourself, and then you
Right.
and then you show up,
Right.
and you pick yourself back up onto your arms, bro, and you're just like, oh, all right, boy, now you can get in line and do what you're supposed to do. And it's a crazy thing because it changes your trajectory. The podcast itself here, I always in my industry, everyone wants to get bigger, better, do more, have more, get bigger numbers, bigger employees, bigger whatever. And when my time changed, I didn't want any of that. I said, I want to influence as many people positively as I can. And I want to document all these great people I know so they can look back on their life and say, here's my value. Marvin, I did this podcast with Marvin, and here's the value of it. And I'm hoping that thing lights a fire so people get enlightened about themselves and who they really are. I hate that I think that the world is making all of us into this same mold, because really, when you get down and have a conversation like this with another human, that's unique. There's nothing like that in the world. There's no other you ever, if you really know who the hell you are. And when you seen yourself for the first time, dude, that's why I was getting welled up, because it's like, I remember that feeling. You can't replicate it. And it's like, okay, I want other people to feel that, because that gets me hyped knowing that they're feeling that too at the same time, man. It's
Bro,
crazy.
Marvin.
It's crazy.
Look, man, you have me buzzing right now, man. Like, wow.
Yeah, it's
Like
true. That's
I,
the truth. That's the truth.
I appreciate you, man. I really
No
do.
worries, man. I appreciate you too. I'm glad we
Yeah.
made this little connection. Uh,
Most definitely.
and that's where I want to lead with what you got going on, man, because I think, not only in the book,
Yeah.
but through your post. We were talking before we got on here, dude. I loved seeing you dance. You had a video get posted on your Insta of you dancing. I'm like, that's Prince. I know
Yeah.
that's him. You could be doing all this. You could be doing all this all the time. Talking, hey, get, call me
Right.
up if you want me to speak at wherever or whatever, however. It could be all that all the time, but it ain't. You got some humility. That humbleness is there because I know you know yourself. You're like, all right, I feel like dancing. Here we
I'm gonna
go,
do
boy.
it.
Here we
Right.
go, boy. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because
That's what it's about.
that's what it's about, man. And
Yeah,
so so that's why I teach people, like, be yourself. Like, don't,
yeah.
like, you concerned about this, like, no, like, I'm gonna be me. So if I like dancing, I'm gonna dance,
Yeah.
because you know um
They're too
that's
serious. People are too
uh,
serious,
too
bro.
serious,
About
man.
stuff that don't matter, but in their mind they think it matters.
They think it matters.
Yeah.
They
So
really
what
don't
what
know how to
what advice for like people that are business owners like myself
Mhm.
and CEOs and stuff like that, where everyone's wound so tight? I made a post a while back about in your book just about breathing and how that simple technique can have such a profound effect on you daily. I mean,
Right.
let's transition into that a little bit, and
Okay.
you know let's let people give your advice, because man, you've been in the pressure cooker, Prince. Like, you were there, dude. You were
Yeah.
there. You've been in some high intensity situations. I can't imagine a play, the quarterback coming in with the call, you guys know what it is all in your brains. You're there, you're waiting for the hut, and this is happening. That's an intense situation, knowing you're going to battle every down. Boom, 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 boom. These people are every day they wake up, they're in control of a business. Other people are relying on them, and there's just a pressure cooker there. But there's an answer. There really, truthfully is an answer.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So yeah, for me, I always say prevention is better than the cure.
yeah,
You always want to, just have a simple exercise. I remind people, when people are like, well, shit, I don't have time for meditation.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, okay. Well,
How
I'll
long
say,
did
say that.
they? Yeah,
I'll ask them, like, say that again, and they'll be like, I don't have time for meditation. I was like, okay. All right, cool. I'll say, how do you spell meditation? They're just like, what? It's like, just spell it for me. And just like M-E. I was like, all right, stop right there. I was like, now let's say that phrase one more time. Like, I don't have time for meditation. Okay. I was like, but instead of saying meditation, stop at the first two letters. And it's like, it's like, what? I don't have time for me.
yeah,
I was like, oh, I guess you don't then, huh? And it opens them up, and it's just like, what the fuck? What did you just do to me?
yeah.
I was like, I'm making you become aware of what you're
Aware.
saying.
Hmm.
You don't even know what you're saying. You don't have time for meditation. You don't even know what the hell it is,
Hmm.
right? And so you're not trying to give it any attention because it's like, who cares? I'm making this money. I'm doing this. I'm
Yep,
living my best life. Like, but you're not making no time for you.
yep.
So if you don't make no time for you, I was like, what's wealth when there's no health next to it,
Hmm.
right? So what are we doing? So for me, what my advice that I give to business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, um, high achievers,
Yeah,
you know, find that time for you, so that way you never get burnt out. You never hit a crossroad or a fork in the road where you feel that you're stuck. You can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere. You don't know what else to do. Find like practice breathing exercises. To just allow yourself to transition, because that's what we're constantly going through a transition. When we wake up in the morning to when we go to bed at night, you know, our body automatically does a transition for us when we yawn,
yep.
right? It's sending a signal to our brain that we're calm, we're tired, the body is relaxed. It's time for us to go to sleep. So when you can practice that throughout your day, you're calming your nerves, you're calming your nervous system,
Hmm.
meaning which goes down to your cellular level, which allows for you to be able to be in control of your emotions, which is your energy and motion. When you learn how to do that, you learn how to pick and choose your battles wisely, and you don't allow yourself to get flustered. You stay in your space, and this is what we practice is what our kids see, our nieces and nephews, the people that look up to us. When they see us practicing anything when it comes to mindfulness and meditation, it rubs off on them. They
Absolutely.
imitate better than what they listen to or the commands that we give to them.
Yep.
So these are the things. Once you start becoming mindful of yourself and your actions and what you do, then it will allow you to be aware of the life that you want to live,
Hmm.
the things that you can change. And so the advice, start practicing meditation,
Yeah.
make time for it, make time for you.
Yeah.
And that way you'll be able to uh, have these conversations. You'll be able to have the big business, but also have yourself,
Yeah.
right? And not do it the Steve Jobs route,
Yeah.
where
That balance. You want that balance,
you
man.
want that balance. He
Mhm.
he revolutionized the world in the way that we think and the way that we operate with the computers, right? The
Yeah.
phones.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right? He
Yeah.
revolutionized that. But then
At a cost.
at a cost.
Yeah.
Cuz then after he's created this magic, now he's diagnosed with an illness,
Yep.
right? So now he tries to go and uh, uh, acquire or chase the spiritual part of himself, but
Hmm.
it's too late,
Yep.
right? And so we have to remind ourselves, like, you need to incorporate that while you're living. so that way you can enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
That way you can revolutionize the world and then help other people revolutionize the world and revolutionize themselves.
Yeah.
So putting those things in priority, I mean, in perspective,
Mhm.
and prioritizing like what's important. Your foundation, you are the foundation. So create that foundation by practicing your mindfulness and your meditation in the morning time. When you get up, check in with yourself. That's what I always tell people: check in with yourself.
Yep.
Then that way you have time for other people, and
True.
but you still reserve time for
Oh,
yourself.
yeah.
So you don't get burnt out.
You're present. Yeah. Yeah. You stay
Exactly.
present. Yeah. You stay
Just stay
present.
present, man, and that's what it's about. And that's my advice.
Cool,
Stay
man.
present. Make time for you.
Cool. Well, dude, I know. Let's talk about this thing right here, bro. Because I remember I was like, hey, dude, I want to, I want to talk to you. I don't know why, dude. I listen to. I'm in every clubhouse ever under the sun. And for some reason, when you spoke, Prince, I was like, dude, for some reason, I need to talk to this fella. And I was like, hey, I want to talk to you about everything that you talk about because I've experienced that in my own life as well. You're like, cool, get the book. I was like,
Right.
okay. Well, dude, I read it probably, I don't know, if we do the timeline, probably about a week or so. I do 10 pages every day of a book.
Yeah,
And
that's dope.
yours ran over 10 pages on some of those days because
Nice.
you get to a point where you're like, all right, at least for me, being as I'm, I've experienced some of the stuff that you got in here, I wanted to finish that thought before I moved on to the next one and things
Nice.
like that. And dude, there's so much good stuff in here. And there's simple stuff that people can start with and get going right away
Right.
that, something as simple as I started with like, dude, I tried in the worst way to get to 3 minutes
Mhm.
having a clear mind while meditating. It's the hardest thing in the world when you haven't done anything. Dude, the people don't realize how hard it is to not think about anything. So I would go
Right.
on walks, and I would try to just think about I'd leave this thing away and just be like, okay, got to spend some time with yourself. Organize my thoughts, I used to say.
Right.
Well, then when I realized I didn't even want to think about that stuff, I just wanted to feel alive. Then all of a sudden that started to get a little bit more space and a little bit more space. And the book is really good at gradually ascending to that point at
Right.
some point. So what made you be like, all right, I'm gonna put all this stuff that I've learned down in this bad boy right here?
Man, it was. I need because when you find yourself, when you see yourself,
Yeah, when you see yourself.
you come back and you telling everybody like, yo, look,
I'm good. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
good.
I'm good. I found myself. Like I
Hope
know,
you're
like,
good. Yeah, I hope you're
yeah,
good. You're good.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, like you want to learn? They like, yeah. All right, we're gonna practice meditation. They're like, what the fuck?
What?
Like,
Yeah, yeah. I
like,
kind of got something at 3:30.
right?
Oh,
I'm cool.
yeah.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just like, what? What you mean? Come on.
Yeah.
So, for a long time, no one took me serious.
Okay.
I wouldn't say no one took me serious. They took me serious because of my football career,
Yeah.
right? But no one took me serious on the mindfulness side.
Yeah. They,
Like
it didn't have weight to them.
it didn't have weight to them, right?
Yeah.
And then, when you have a book, you have authority, right? But that wasn't the reason why I did it. It was I wanted to create something that would outlast me
Oh, I got you.
and
Legacy.
outlast my life and something that I can leave for my kids,
Legacy.
right? A
Yeah.
legacy, exactly.
Yeah.
But also, I wanted to share with people that I
The
found
good.
myself.
Yeah, the
Like
goodness. Dude, it's
yeah,
good. It's
yeah,
yeah. When
and
you find yourself, it's good.
right, and so wanting to connect. How do you write a book where it relates to everybody in different stages of their life? The kids, to young teen, to an adult,
Yep.
and beyond. And so, I wrote it with the mind, the body, the mind, and the spirit and mind, and then connecting to the zone,
Yeah.
right? Which is just one because I have another one that I'm working on, so I'm
Oh, I
excited
can't wait,
about
dude.
that.
I can't wait. I seriously
Like
can't wait. And one thing, after reading your book,
yeah,
even if it is something that you study or practice or know a little bit about, it refreshed me really good because
mhm,
during reading it, I got a little guy. He's going to be 10 here next week, and I didn't realize just how fast he's moving. Like his brain, his body, like everything. I'm like, man, slow down. And I'm like, dude, slow down and think about what you say and what you do. It has an impact on you. And, if I love to say that I got through to him, but man, the world is just impressing, and it's like, man, let's try to work this out. But I do what, like you were saying, they observe us. These kids observe us. Other people observe us. And you get a general sense when somebody's doing good or when they feel good. You walk into a room and that person's just magnetic because they're good. And that's kind of where he's at. He's like, Dad, why you do that? Dad, why you do this? And I think that when you're in the book, it just puts you in that mindset of, all right, I need to refresh this thing and figure out how to do it. Now, I'm not going to be able to do the lotus positions that you got diagrammed in that book.
You don't have to.
I have to work on my stretching quite a bit. But
I should have did the sitting in the chair. That's what I'm gonna do in my next book. Sitting in the chair, just to remind people, like,
I can do that. I promise you. I don't even have to practice. I can do that.
No, I already know. I already know. Like, I know who I'm talking to when I feel people, right? And that's what connected us. When you heard me speak, you felt it. You was like, yo, I need to hit this dude. Or who is this dude? Right.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking, I can feel what you're saying, which lets me know that you seek some truth and you possess it, like you have it. And so that is the indicator that allows me to be able to open up and like, oh, okay, he gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it. Yeah. It's like,
it's few and far between. I always tell my friend Mark Estrada, he's in Houston, which is kind of ironic, know. But him and I talk every week, and we talk multiple times every week, and we have conversations about things that I'm sure 95% of the people don't understand.
All right.
and we talk about that kind of stuff, and it wasn't so much, don't get me wrong, dude, your record at the bowl game is amazing. Making it to the NFL is absolutely amazing. But that enlightenment period that you go through sheds you of kind of that awestruck, starstruck moment about that kind of stuff. And you more want to know about their journey to get to where they seen themselves for the first time and where they're there and they're at that level. And that's super exciting to me to be able to hear your story about how you got there and you're there and you've seen yourself, and the feeling of it for the first time is just amazing. You got there sooner than I did. I'm a little bit later in life. I'm 35 now, and it's been a while.
I'm 38.
Yeah. So we're close, but it wasn't all that long ago, 5 or 6 years ago for me. But I was really worried, Prince, that I was going to live a meaningless life. And we were working, I was paying the bills, building a family, had all the cars and stuff that I had envisioned in my brain was the American dream, I guess that's how you want to put it. But I grew up very poor, have a sad story about how it got to where it was. And once I got it in my brain, I'd always pictured that's it. That's what I'm going to get. And then when I got there, I was not lonely, but I was lonely in myself. And I thought, where am I? Like, not like where am I in the world, but where am I? And dude, you go down that roller coaster deep, bro. And then all of a sudden you hit that spot. And then when everything is shed, then all of a sudden all you got left is yourself, and you got to turn and look at yourself. And all of a sudden I really enjoyed finding myself for the first time. It was like seeing it was like seeing I don't know, seeing your dad or seeing your mom or somebody you haven't seen in forever. I was very excited to see myself for the first time because it let all those weights of the world just went gone. It's like, all right, I'm living for me. Finally, I'm living for me. And dude, it's great because the key to getting it, it's a simple book, dude. I know Megatron's on the front. Don't get me. I know Megatron's down here. I know that's supposed to get my attention, but the path, the start to it is inside that book. And it was inside that clubhouse that day, that little excerpt where you only had a moment to speak, who you were and what was going on. Yeah, I caught it, and dude,
Yeah.
I'm super glad we connected, man,
Man,
because
same here, brother.
you don't get this every day in life, and I'm super glad. I know we're going over time, so I want to
Yeah.
get to the end because I know you're a busy guy now, man.
Yeah, I do have something like 10:30 with the Kobe Bryant
All right, dude, it's 10:30.
Academy.
It's like
No,
12. It's like
it's all right. It's all right. We got about like 3 more minutes, so let's go ahead.
all right. Let's hit it real quick. All right,
All
fun
right.
question. All right,
All right.
it's a fun question. If you
Okay.
could only eat one food for the rest of your life, Prince, what would it be? One food for the rest of your life. What would it be?
Pain in that
Come
front.
on, man. One food.
Pizza.
Is it, was it?
Pizza.
Is it really pizza? What kind? Pepperoni?
No, so I'm plant-based, so it'll be more
Okay.
like a Greek pizza, like with
All right. I
olives.
love that one, dude. I love a Mediterranean pizza in the worst
Right,
way,
right,
bro.
right,
I
right.
love the tomatoes and spinach and everything else on them. All right. Well, real quick, let's get them. Let's get everybody your socials because you're gonna have to come back now, man. Especially
Yeah, I definitely. I'm coming back, man.
yeah, we're gonna talk about stuff besides the book and a little bit
Yeah,
deeper stuff next time for sure.
let's
But
do it. Yeah,
real quick, I know you got a couple Instagrams
yeah,
right now, right? Beyond the game.
yeah.
What's that
Game.
one?
Yeah. So it's Game Beyond the Game. That's
Okay.
the one I created. That's the company that I created
Yep.
for athletes that are transitioning out of the game, elite
Mhm.
athletes, professional athletes,
Perfect.
to help them find their vision and their purpose beyond the game and have the mindset to see it through.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
create an ecosystem and a safe haven,
I love it.
because yeah, I go deeper into that, and then I have my personal Instagram, which is at Prince AD Jr. That's Jr. And you see me on there either practicing meditation or
Dancing.
dancing
Yeah.
or or doing all kinds of stuff, man. But
Mhm. What about Clubhouse? You gonna be on there very
Club,
much lately?
yeah.
I know
So
I
I'm
sat through a couple of meditation sessions and stuff with y'all. I loved it.
yeah.
It was
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So on Clubhouse, same thing at Prince ADJR.
cool.
So and then I'm on LinkedIn at Prince Daniels Jr., Facebook at Prince Daniels Jr. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I
Cool.
just started a TikTok account, and so
That's what I'm
uh,
waiting for. That's
uh,
you.
so
You better keep an eye on my Instagram story because I'm gonna be sharing some of them ones. I can promise you that much, man. Well,
yeah, so that's cool, man. So I'm looking forward to that, and yeah, I'm just teaching people how to be themselves and be and live through the higher version of themselves.
yeah.
It's about connecting to your creative intelligence and living from your higher self, so we can make this world a better place, man.
Dude, I'm hyped for that. And if I can help out in any way, please let me know because to me, that's the most absolutely important thing that's ever existed in this realm that we live in.
Mm,
So I'm very excited for that. All
yeah,
right. For me and Prince, I got to let him go, guys. He's got Kobe Bryant Foundation coming and everything else. But I got to get a selfie with him for Insta. So let's hurry
let's
up and
do it.
get this done. All right.
Let's do it.
This is Blacktop Banner episode 44. We got Prince Daniels Jr. and he said he's coming back. So we're going to talk about some other stuff sometime here coming up. All right. We want you to pave it, seal it, stripe it, and kill it. Peace.
Peace.